It's important to know that there are many critics of speaking with digital slideshows, even in academia, where faculty depend on PowerPoint for delivering lectures and research talks. Yale Emeritus Professor Edward Tufte is an especially vehement critic. In his booklet, The Cognitive Style of PowerPoint, he argues that speaking with stock phrases and images in an overly simple outline format leads to a, quote, foreshortening of evidence and thought, low spatial resolution, a deeply hierarchical single-pass structure as the model for organizing every type of content, breaking up narrative and data into slides and minimal fragments, rapid temporal sequencing of thin information rather than focused spatial analysis, conspicuous decoration and fluff, a preoccupation with format, not content, an attitude of commercialism that turns everything into a sales pitch. Tufte particularly loves to make fun of the Microsoft templates that come with PowerPoint software. One of his favorite examples comes from Google executive Peter Norwig, who created a humorous Gettysburg Address boiled down to PowerPoint that makes Lincoln sound as though he's speaking to an absurd sales meeting. Even if you don't use default templates, simplifying political situations into a PowerPoint slideshow can be disastrous, Tufte argues. And he points to Colin Powell's famous address to the United Nations that presented what was supposed to be evidence of the stockpiling of weapons of mass destruction by dictator Saddam Hussein in Iraq as justification for invasion by the US in 2003, as an example of PowerPoint's ability to deceive. Tufte is not alone in his criticisms. Mark Bernstein argues that military planners who used PowerPoint tended to present warfare as an overly simplified black and white conflict between good and bad forces. I've noticed that bullet point thinking even turns up in policy documents produced by the US government that emerge out of PowerPoint presentations and similarly formatted lists of talking points. This document uses bullet points, arrows, and check marks as a way to organize a range of related, unhierarchical lists. Tufte argues that what he calls PowerPoint chart junk can obscure important information. He even claims that at least one of the space shuttle crashes could be blamed on poor communication practices among engineers who were overly dependent on PowerPoint. As an information designer, Tufte thinks it's important to expend energy designing graphics that communicate important facts about a given situation and to honestly represent trends, causes, and comparisons that might be useful to promote understanding. Although you might not have time to create your own maps and charts rather than rely on templates, at the very least, you should think critically before using stock photos that will make your presentation seem generic. You may have images that establish your individual expertise, as in the case of this former public rhetoric and practical communication student who developed luminescent materials in a chemistry lab.